Hey guys, it's Olivia and I'm back with another video. So this week we're going to talk about a movie that came out in the best year ever, and that year is 1999. Why is that the best year ever, you ask? Well, it's the year I was born. Anyways, I digress. The movie we're talking about in this week's video is 10 Things I Hate About You. So I've watched this movie a number of times, and the first time I watched it, I really liked it. I was like, oh, this is a cute little rom-com, whatever, whatever. But when it comes to most movies in general, I find that as I grow up, I don't like them as much anymore. And obviously, like, for example, when you're a kid, you might watch Timothy Goes to School, and when you're 37, you're not going to like it anymore because you're obviously not the target audience. But I just mean, like, a lot of times we watch a movie that we used to like and we realize that it's not good, but it's just nostalgic, so it'll always have that special place to us. And 10 Things I Hate About You doesn't have that for me, and we're just going to discuss it in this week's video. So the movie starts with a boy named Cameron. He is new to the school, so they have one of the students, Michael, show him around the school. So while Michael and Cameron are walking around the school, they come across this girl named Bianca. So Bianca is a sophomore, and she is one of the popular girls at the school. So Cameron instantly falls in love with Bianca and he wants to take her out. But Michael informs him Bianca's not allowed to date, and neither is her older sister, Kat.
It's a widely known fact that the Stratford sisters aren't allowed to date.
So Cameron, now learning that he isn't allowed to date Bianca, he still wants to have a reason to spend time with her. So Cameron finds out that Bianca needs a French tutor. Cameron does not speak French, but he decides that he's going to pretend to speak French so that he can be her tutor.
You want to take a shot? Be my guest. She's actually looking for a French tutor.
Are you serious? That's perfect.
Do you speak French?
Well, no, but I will.
So as previously mentioned, Kat and Bianca can't date because their dad says so. But while tutoring Bianca, Cameron learns that the girl's father has changed his mind and he has created a new rule.
My dad just came up with a new rule. I can date when my sister does.
And the reason why their father made this rule is because Kat is not like other girls. And so she doesn't even want to date. So since Kat is never going to date anyone, then Bianca is also never going to date anyone. So that was the father's master plan, right? So now Cameron has some more information and he knows a way to potentially get Bianca. But who on earth is going to want to date Kat because she's so different and edgy and not like other girls? So who's going to want to date her? Well, there's a boy at the school named Patrick who is also edgy and different and not like other boys. So a plan is devised. Michael suggests to Cameron that the only way to get someone to take out Kat is to pay that person. My bad, it's actually Cameron who comes up with the idea to pay somebody, but Michael is still very much a part of the plan.
We could pay him, but we don't have any money.
So they're thinking, we'll pay Patrick to take out Kat, and then Cameron can take out Bianca. The problem is Michael and Cameron have no money. So they're like, okay, we need to go to someone who does have money. This is where Joey comes into play.
Yeah, well, what we need is a backer.
What's that?
Someone with money who's stupid.
Joey is a senior at the school and he's one of the popular boys. And he is also interested in Bianca. So Michael approaches Joey and basically suggests that Joey pay Patrick to date Kat. That way Joey can be with Bianca. However, the real plan is for Joey to pay Patrick to take out Kat, but then Cameron is going to swoop in and take Bianca before Joey can. So anyways, Joey thinks it over and he's like, yeah, this is a good idea, because he thinks he's gonna get Bianca. So he convinces Patrick, and by convinces, I mean gives him money, and Patrick accepts, and now he's gonna pursue Kat. Then Michael and Cameron approach Patrick to tell him about the real plan of Cameron being the one who gets Bianca.
We set this whole thing up so Cameron can get the girl. Joey's just a pawn.
So Patrick asks out Kat a few times and she continues to decline him. But with Michael and Cameron's help, since Cameron is still Bianca's tutor, they begin to learn more about Kat and relay that information to Patrick, thus making him seem more appealing to her and thus having her accept his advances. So then there is this big party at Bogey Lowenstein's, and Bianca wants to go, but she can't go unless Kat does. So Bianca begs her to go, and Kat agrees to go with Patrick. Now let's talk about the logistics of Bogey Lowenstein's party for a second. This is Bogey Lowenstein. We're gonna typecast him for a second. Does he look like the type of guy that would successfully invite all the popular people to his house? Like, he invites Joey and Bianca and they all of a sudden want to go. What actually happens is Bogey Lowenstein thinks he's holding a wine and cheese party with his fellow future MBAs. And Michael used to be a part of their friend group, but Bogey kicks him out. And so in order to get revenge on Bogey, he decides to turn his wine and cheese party into a full-on house party. So Michael alters the flyers and him and Cameron throw the flyers through the stairwell of the high school, and that's how everyone finds out about it. But my question is, wouldn't Bogey have also found out? Like, they threw hundreds of flyers through the stairwell of the school that Bogey also goes to. So these flyers are falling through the stairwell. Obviously, not every single one of them gets caught by somebody. So a lot of them are going to end up on the floor of the hallway and scattered throughout the school. And this happens a couple of days before the get-together is even supposed to happen. So you're telling me Bogey has 48 hours to stumble upon one of these flyers, and he never does? So everybody in the school finds out the change about Bogey's party, except for Bogey. Now that's just unrealistic. And can I just say this real quick? What is Bianca wearing to Bogey Lowenstein's party? She looks like she's going to have tea with the queen. Like, I didn't go to a lot of parties in high school. I went to literally 2. But that is not what you wear to a house party. You're not out here wearing a cocktail dress and pearls to a house party. Like, isn't Bianca like 15 years old? Like, she can't even drive. And she's out here with her pearls? I'm thoroughly confused. Like, you're going to a house party where people are drunk and they're spilling beers and all that stuff. You don't go in your nicest dress and your pearls. I'm so, like, who? She's dressed for a business meeting. And she's 15 years old going to a house party. I'm sorry. I just have to comment on this outfit because it's a cute outfit just for the wrong occasion. So anyways, Kat goes with Patrick to Bogey Lowenstein's party, and Bianca goes with Joey. So at the party, Bianca ends up running into Cameron, and Cameron sees Bianca and Joey together, and then he realizes Bianca never liked him to begin with, and she's shallow and all this other stuff. So then Cameron is over moping in a corner, and Bianca is hanging out with Joey. Bianca soon finds out how shallow and uninteresting Joey is, so throughout the party, she slowly loses interest in him. While this is going on, Joey had made a snarky comment towards Kat, which had hurt her feelings. So she decides to drown her sorrows in tequila shots. So Kat is very drunk at this point, and Patrick, who is her date to this party, is taking care of her. So now the party is coming to an end, and Joey, who has not realized that Bianca isn't interested in him anymore, invites Bianca to an after party.
Hey, a bunch of us are going to Jared's. Ready?
To which she makes an excuse and says that she has a curfew.
I have to be home in 20 minutes.
So Joey takes Bianca's best friend, Chastity, instead.
You want to go?
Sure. Chastity? Hey, you passed.
More on this later. So now, since Joey had driven Bianca to the party, she no longer had a ride home. So she asks Cameron to drive her home.
Hey, Cameron, do you think you could give me a ride home?
And Cameron agrees. So Cameron drives her home, and they're sitting in the car outside her house, and Cameron basically starts venting to her and saying how he did all this and how she led him on and blah 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 and how angry he is. And then she kisses him and all is forgiven. It was like an hour ago you're like, oh, she's so shallow, she doesn't like me, I don't like her, and then they kiss for like 3 seconds and oh, all is forgiven. But then again, it's a teen movie, so what more can you expect? But just before Cameron and Bianca kiss and make up, Patrick had driven Kat home from the party because she was too drunk to drive. So they're having their little heart-to-heart, and Kat leans in to kiss Patrick. But because Kat is drunk, and because Patrick has now started to develop real feelings for her, he felt as though he might be taking advantage of her if he kissed her while she was drunk, so he declines.
Maybe we should do this another time.
So Kat now feels angry and embarrassed, so she storms off and basically breaks up with Patrick. So now moving forward in the movie, Kat stops dating, which means Bianca now has to stop dating as well. But Joey, who still has not realized that Bianca is not interested in him, asks her to prom.
I want to talk to you about prom.
And Bianca doesn't straight up say no, but she basically tries to deflect the situation by saying, you know, I can't go unless my sister goes.
Look, you know the deal. I can't go if Kat doesn't go.
And Joey says not to worry about it because he still plans on continuing to pay Patrick to take out Kat. So Joey goes to make another transaction with Patrick to ensure that he takes Kat to the prom. But Kat is still not talking to Patrick. So Patrick, Michael, and Cameron devise a plan for Patrick to embarrass himself on a bigger scale to then make Kat feel less embarrassed about the night of their almost kiss. So anyways, Patrick does a little song and dance over the school's PA system, and Kat forgives him. So then Kat and Patrick go on a series of mini dates. They go boating on a lake, and then they do paintball, whatever. And then Patrick asks Kat to prom, and she says no. And then Patrick asks a couple more times, and she's like, why do you want to go so bad? Is there something in it for you? Why are you so insistent on prom?
Why are you pushing this? What's in it for you?
Patrick is straight up gaslighting Kat. She suspects him of having an ulterior motive, which he does, the money from Joey. And when she accuses him, he says that she needs therapy. Why is she so mistrusting of him? Because you are to be mistrusted, sir. He says all of this all while knowing that he's getting paid to take her out. All I want is the pleasure of your company. No, you don't. You want your money. And yes, this is after Patrick starts developing real feelings for Kat, but the point is he still accepted the money from Joey, did he not? So Kat knows something is up, and Patrick basically insinuates that she's crazy and untrusting when she's right. She's right on the nose. She knew something was up, called him out on it, and he made her feel like she was in the wrong. Later on in the movie, she ends up apologizing to him.
I'm really sorry that I questioned your motives. I was wrong.
And then he has the audacity to say,
You're forgiven.
you literal butt crack. You shouldn't be getting apologies. You should be giving them. He claims to have real feelings for her at this point. How are you going to lie straight to the face of the person who you supposedly love? Try again, sir. So because Kat isn't going to prom, Bianca also cannot go to prom. But Bianca and Kat have a little sister heart-to-heart, and Kat realizes that prom is a very big deal to Bianca, so Kat decides to go to prom with Patrick so that Bianca now has permission to go to prom. So Kat leaves to go to prom with Patrick.
Bye, Dad. I'm going to the prom.
And then Cameron shows up at the house to pick up Bianca. Then a few moments later, Joey shows up at Bianca's house to pick her up for prom, only for her dad to slam the door in his face. So Joey, being the cool guy he is, he can't show up to prom alone, so he picks up Bianca's best friend, Chastity. Remember her?
Joey just picked me up.
So upon showing up to prom with Chastity, Joey sees Bianca and Cameron together, which makes him upset because he's like, why was I paying all this money if I didn't get the girl? So then Joey confronts Patrick about the situation, and Kat overhears. And she's like, didn't you just say there was something in it for you, and now I'm hearing you were making monies? So Kat and Patrick break up again. And she storms off, drives home, whatever. Then Joey confronts Cameron because he now realizes that he's been duped and that the real plan that he was not informed of was for Cameron to get the girl. So then Joey punches Cameron, and then Bianca punches Joey, and it's quite an eventful night. So I'm assuming that this all happened over the weekend. Like, there's not a really clear timeline in this movie, but we're gonna say this happened on like a Friday night. So then come Monday morning, Kat's English class, which Patrick is also in, had an assignment to write a poem. So the English teacher asks if anyone would like to recite their poem in front of the class, and Kat volunteers. So her poem is basically about the 10 things I hate about you being Patrick. So he hears the poem because he's in the audience in her class, and when she finishes, the last line of the poem basically reveals that she wants to hate Patrick, but she can't bring herself to hate him. And then she's crying, she runs out of the class, and then the next scene is after school. And Kat is walking to her car, and then in the front seat, she sees a guitar. Then Patrick shows up, and it's revealed that he bought her the guitar using the money that Joey had paid her. And while I was writing my little, like, kind of script for this video, just to, like, map out what happens in the movie and when to keep my thoughts straight, I had written, he buys her the guitar, he apologizes, and then they kiss and make up, the end. But no, he doesn't actually apologize. He does not say the words, I'm sorry. He's just like, I bought you this guitar. And then he's like, oh, I had some extra money laying around. I did a really stupid thing. This guy paid me to take out this girl, but I made a mistake and I fell for her. And then she's just like, really?
Really?
And then that's it. She forgives him. Like, you really fell for me? Like, that's it. Like, it's that easy. It's really that easy. I thought he apologized this whole time. I've watched this movie, I don't know how many times. I probably watched this movie 10 or 20 times. I genuinely thought he apologized. He didn't. He just bought her the guitar, and then he's like, I like you. And she was like, for realsies? And then they're together again. Like, that's what happens. He doesn't actually apologize, and he still gets forgiven in the end. What? Anyways, so yeah, that's it. He buys her a guitar, they kiss and make up, the end. That is how the movie ends. And all I want to say is that there are no good people in this movie. Every single person makes all the wrong decisions. Obviously, we're only seeing like a few weeks of these teenagers' lives, so we can't judge, I don't know, their whole existence on these couple of weeks. But from all the actions we see them doing, none of them are good people. And let's go through the character list real quick, like. Starting with Joey, the obvious bad guy, like the main antagonist of the movie. Joey isn't a good person because he doesn't actually like Bianca. He just wants to check another box with how many girls he's been with, and he hasn't been with Bianca, so let me be with her. That's pretty much it. And he thinks Bianca is valued a couple $100 because that's how much he was willing to pay Patrick for her. That's very degrading, if you ask me. Moving on to Cameron, who was supposed to be like the hero and the good guy and, oh, the lovable character who's gonna treat Bianca right. No, incorrect. You know how people say, like when people are in a relationship, they're like, I would do anything for you. That doesn't mean disrespecting your family members. Like, for example, Kat and Bianca pretty much have disagreements throughout the entire movie, but then again, siblings do. Like, siblings fight, but at the end of the day, they still love each other, right? So Bianca loves Kat because that's her sister. And Cameron loves Bianca after seeing her for like 4.5 seconds. And if you truly love someone, you wouldn't disrespect someone they love. Like, you love me, but you're willing to disrespect my siblings to get me? Like, no. Nope. Like, Cameron also thought that Bianca's love was worth a couple $100 because that's how much he thought was a good amount to get Joey to pay Patrick. Like, these guys really do not value the galdem, and that doesn't sit right with me. Michael, I guess like the cute sidekick, also not a good person, because it was his idea to pay someone to date Kat. Once again, Michael isn't the one who came up with the idea of payment, but he is the one who orchestrated the whole thing. Michael also pitched an alternate version to Joey to get Joey to be in on the plan. Like, Michael was the mastermind of this whole terrible, degrading plan. No, I don't like Michael. Patrick, also not a good person, because he accepted the money. Like, yes, he eventually falls for Kat, yeah, whatever, but he thinks Kat is worth a couple $100 because that's how much it's worth to him for him to date her for a little bit and then dump her at the end, because he didn't intend to fall for her. So he was just going to date her for a couple of weeks so that Joey and or Cameron could date Bianca for a couple of weeks. And then after Bianca was free to date, then he was just going to break up with Kat. So Cameron and Joey think Bianca is worth a couple $100 because that's how much they're willing to pay to make her free. And then Patrick thinks Kat is worth a couple $100 because that's how much he's willing to make to date a girl that he doesn't actually like. Why are we putting dollar values on the galdem? Why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? I don't like that. No. And Kat, I feel like we weren't supposed to like Kat, but she is genuinely my favorite person in this movie. I know that she kind of does like a couple of mean things, like ripping down prom posters, but like in comparison to what everyone else did in this whole entire movie, Kat is a saint. Like, Bianca's out here punching people. Not that I'm really mad at her punching Joey, because he kind of deserved it. So I'm going to give Bianca a pass for that. But people are out here throwing punches. People are out here buying love. People are out here doing all these next level things. And all Kat did was rip down a couple of posters. And she's like the edgy, like, bad girl. Like, no, Kat is the best character in this whole movie. Like, oh, I'm like the sweet, lovable Cameron. No. Au revoir, sir. I'm not falling for it. I might have fell for it the first time I watched the movie, not the 10th. No. As I said earlier in this video, I'm probably not the target demographic. Like, I know that I'm only a couple of years older than these people. Like, for example, Kat's character in the movie was 18, and I'm only 22, so I'm only a few years older than her character was. But the more I watched it, I'm just like, I don't like what's happening here. And years ago, like when I just started my channel, when I was 17 years old, I made a video talking about things Shakespeare taught me. And one of the things I talked about was the Shakespearean play Taming of the Shrew, which, if you didn't know, is what 10 Things I Hate About You is based off of. And if you ever read Taming of the Shrew, it is the most sexist thing in the whole entire world. Like, we're out here taming women as if they're animals. Ooh, don't even get me started on Taming of the Shrew. But that's pretty much what 10 Things I Hate About You is based off of. And so the more you watch it, you kind of just realize that it's a sexist movie based on a sexist play. And yeah, I don't know. I just think everyone made all the possible wrong, bad, incorrect decisions in this movie. And we were just out here paying money for galdem. That's what was happening in this movie. In a movie that has a happy ending, because not all movies do, but in a movie that has a happy ending, we are programmed to think the people who got the happy ending are the good guys, and the people who didn't get a happy ending are the bad guys. For example, let's say Cinderella. Cinderella gets the prince, and her two stepsisters don't. So she gets to live happily ever after, and her stepmother and stepsisters don't. So she's the good guy, and she got the happily ever after, right? So Kat and Patrick get their happily ever after. Bianca and Cameron get their happily ever after, and Joey gets punched in the face and gets a black eye, right? So we're like, oh, Joey's the bad guy. Ooh, also, Michael ends up with what even is her name? Mandela, who is Kat's friend, but like her involvement didn't really matter in my like synopsis of this movie. But pretty much everyone gets into a relationship except for Joey. So we're supposed to think that Michael, Patrick, Cameron, Kat, and Bianca are all the good guys because they all got their happy ending, and Joey's the only bad guy because he's the one that's sad at the end. No, they're all the bad guy. They're all the bad guy. When you really watch this movie, they're all the bad guy. I don't care if you got your happily ever after, you're still the bad guy. And that's all I have to say about that. So that's all for this week's video. I just wanted to, I don't know, think my way through 10 things I hate about you. Oh, that rhymed. All in all, I think it's, if you don't think about it too much, it's a cute movie. But when you think about it too much, they're literally paying for girls. I can't. No. Anyways, that's all for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you think your friends will enjoy it, be sure to share it with them. All my social media links will be down below in case you want to follow me on there. Be sure to subscribe to my channel because I make new videos every Monday. Thank you to my channel members, and be sure to check out one of these suggested videos, and I'll see you next Monday with a new video.